Overwatch 2 wins a Game of the Year award from Dexerto for best ongoing or live service game. Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So I guess obviously the preamble to this video is this is from Dexerto. Take that however you like, but I think this is actually a really interesting thing we can discuss because has Overwatch actually succeeded as a live service game when we compare it back to Overwatch 1? And what we're going to do in this video is break all of that down. But I do have a little bit of housekeeping to begin this video with. Check this out. So this is from Jared Noose. Now, there have been absolutely crushing performance issues on PlayStation 5. Like, honestly, the game has been running at like 10 FPS. It looks so bad. Go and Google Overwatch on PS5 right now, and you will see some... I mean, I've been on TikTok having a look. I'm not joking. It is bad. It's like laughably bad. I don't know what they've done. But Jared says this: we're aware of the performance issues players are experiencing on PS5, and the team is working super hard to resolve them ASAP. When we're confident in the timing of our fix going live, we'll let you all know. This is a top priority for us. Now, obviously, yes, this is a top priority. They have literally destroyed their game on PS5. This is one of the biggest platforms, obviously, for the game. They need to fix this, so I'm sure there's a lot of people over there working crazy hours trying to get it sorted. These things happen, you know. Games are very complex pieces of software, loads of different layers to them. You know, I'm not even going to begin to understand any of this. But yeah, there's big problems, but at least they're trying to fix it. And this is an official statement from the executive producer of Overwatch 2. Okay, let's move on to this. So this is Dexerto's best live service games of 2023. They actually put Overwatch 2 as the winner, the best game of the year. And we'll just quickly go through what they say. Well, we won't go through what they say about the other games. We'll focus on Overwatch 2, but we'll show you the list. So they've put Valorant at 5. They put Apex Legends at 4. They put Pokemon Go at 3. And they put Fortnite at number 2. And then they stick Overwatch 1 as the top billing, the best of the year. And what is their reasoning for this? Well, we've got to break this down and take a look. So this is what they say. Overwatch 2 hasn't always had an easy existence since its release at the end of last year. Even in 2023, there were downers such as the news of downsizing of PvE and the closure of the Overwatch League. None of that takes away from the stellar year Overwatch 2 has had as a live service, though. It delivered Ramatra, Iliari, Lifeweaver, Mauga within the last 12 months. Ramatra literally to the day of publication. Okay, we'll just carry on. This puts the game in the cadence. In the cadence it had during the golden years of 2017 and 2018. That's not entirely accurate. The cadence of the game is like basically the frequency of updates is way higher than it was in 2017 and 2018. Like, there's a lot more content coming to the game now, comparatively, so that's not really that accurate, but whatever. In terms of maps, we got the Antarctic Peninsula, New Junk City, Surabasa, Samoa. That's the most competitive maps ever added to Overwatch in a year since its release in 2016, taking into account seasonal content, successful event modes like Prop Hunt, and the story missions, which, while not what we were promised, were excellent supportive content to the overall game. That is very subjective because they were very mediocre. The PvE missions were, do not forget that. They were not, they were just, you know, hell, go and try and queue for a PvE mission now. It'll tell you all you need to know. It's easy to see how rich this year of Overwatch 2 has been. People talk about the glory days of Overwatch as if they are resigned to the past, but the game is getting more content than ever. There is also been balance patches twice a season and director blog posts every couple of weeks, which discussing the state of the game, pushing this year past even what players had during the best of Overwatch 1. When you start looking at all of this together, that's why Overwatch 2 is Dexerto's top live service of 2023. In a year when many ongoing games misstepped, Overwatch 2 has quietly, yet impressively, building its comeback. Okay. So, I mean, a lot of that is... like... Okay, let's not just go straight into that just yet, because I think we need to look at some other points of view, and then we need to sort of take a look at what's going on with the game, because there are some things that Overwatch gets right. There's some things that it doesn't get right, and it's very much, in my mind, it's in this sort of catch-up phase where it was forced into free-to-play for a number of reasons, and I honestly think free-to-play is the best move for the game, and it definitely was. But then when it came to how do they monetize, they copied the practices of other games, but produced the worst battle pass and locked heroes behind the battle pass and very expensive skins and, you know, not great skins as well to begin with, although a lot of the skins now do look really well. We've got things added to the game right now like weapon skins that are starting to show up, which are about time, but again, you know, the cost is debatable and all of that stuff. We've got things like the mini battle pass coming online again, you know, more monetization tactics. Essentially, the issue is the game went free to play and it used a monetization model a lot of games had already moved on from, or even if they were still using that model, they'd innovated on it in some way, whereas Blizzard didn't. But throughout this year, we have seen ways that they have innovated on the battle pass type of model. Go back to, I believe it was season 5, where you had the whole sort of like as if you were going through a fantasy tale and you had the voice acting, bits of dialogue and stuff like that as you progress through the battle pass. That was kind of neat. You know, they did things like you had the mythic skin was broken up, wasn't it? So they tried that. So you earn different bits of the mythic skins through a couple of battle passes. Then they've since reverted back to going, no, actually, we'll just go to mythic at the end. That's probably because they just don't have many customization options for the mythic skins now, so it just wouldn't work if you chop them up. The mythic skins are a whole other debate in and of themselves, which is, there is actually a good video I put together on the channel a couple of weeks ago about mythic skins. So do go and check that out. But anyway, let's carry on with this because there is a lot to talk about here, and I think this is going to be really interesting. So this is Game Awards, like the actual Game Awards. Now, if you're watching this video as it goes live, the Game Awards happen a few hours after this video. So this is best ongoing game. So this is essentially best live service game, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Right, so look at the list here. Apex Legends, Cyberpunk, which is this might actually win it because Cyberpunk, they have reinvented themselves. But could you say it's an ongoing game? I mean, Cyberpunk came out. Cyberpunk came out. And it was not great, let's say. But it has since come back with its expansion and future updates. And updates. It's been getting literally, like, I think it got an update yesterday or the day before. But is that really an ongoing game? It was like a game that came out a few years later, then they dropped content on it. I don't know. Final Fantasy 14. This is always going to be something which is in contention. Great MMO. Fortnite, and then Genshin Impact, which is sort of off the screen there. You can see Genshin Impact. So Fortnite's an interesting one, yeah, because Fortnite, I don't know whether you guys are aware, but they had quite a big event the other day, and it's all in-game stuff. They do these like end-of-season sort of spectacles, millions and millions of viewers, captured the audience. They did things like they brought back the old Fortnite map, the OG map. I mean, we're waiting for Overwatch to do that. I'm sure they will at some point. I mean, hell, World of Warcraft have done that with WoW Classic, right? And then you look at Hardcore, then you look at Season of Discovery now. They're doing really well numbers. I'm sure at some point there will be like an Overwatch Classic thing will pop up. But Fortnite has been killing it in that regard. Apex Legends has done really well this year as well. Genshin Impact, I don't know, I don't play. Cyberpunk, as I said, debatable. Final Fantasy 14, yeah, MMO. Always seen as a really good MMO. I've played it. I haven't actually got to max level, but I've played it quite a bit. So, take that with a pinch of salt. But also, I should have been on this scene as I was like showing you that. But you get the idea anyway. You know what it is. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You can you really think that Overwatch is the best live service game of the year when you think about these other games? I mean, I think with this website, it's literally this statement here with the Game Awards is it's awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content. Overwatch hasn't had outstanding development of ongoing content. What it's had is a complete retooling and a changing of the way the game has new content. That's taken it a year to sort of get to a point where they feel comfortable with it. And then they're going to look at changing that going forward in January, because we know Aaron Keller is going to actually talk about the monetization, about the shop, about the battle pass. There's going to be changes to it and all of that stuff coming next year. So with that being said, let's jump over here and take... In fact, actually, before we do that, I do want to show you this because there is an award for Overwatch at the Game Awards. And it's the only one, but it's for Gunba, the coach of Florida Mayhem. Of course, won the Overwatch League, the final Overwatch League. And, there's very stiff competition here. I think probably Potter will take it, but there's a lot of very stiff competition. But I would love to see it if Gunba takes it. That would be awesome. Yeah, but this is the only category Overwatch is officially nominated for. Anyway, let's move on. So what I want to do is jump over to Reddit, because there's a post here that is actually discussing what we just talked about. And I want to look at some of the responses from the players. Now, what's interesting here is this is competitive Overwatch. So generally, if we were to like break down where, I don't know, different segments of the community reside, this is the more hardcore player, yeah? So this is the player that would be more inclined to almost like religiously defend anything Overwatch does. You know, like, oh yeah, they can turn it around. We're on all the hopium. They're basically like me, right? Or any of you guys that are like super hardcore into Overwatch. And yeah, you can see the faults sometimes, but other times you're looking a bit on the positive side and all of that stuff. This is what you get here. Whereas the main Overwatch subreddit is not so much like that. And then obviously you go out onto Twitter, you go onto the official forums, you know, and all that stuff. But anyway, I want to look at this because I think some of these comments will be pretty good. So we're just going to go through this. Yeah, so like their first comment is, look, Dexerto, they've got positive things to say about Overwatch, what's happening. Because normally they would just have negativity after negativity after negativity. And you've got to remember with Dexerto, it is a content mill. It's not some like bastion of journalistic standard. It is literally just spamming articles out as fast as possible on whatever is the trending topics of the time within the gaming world. So it is interesting to see that they've gone for more of a positive approach instead of, if you look around for the information, or I guess what's trending, I suppose, with Overwatch in the current season, you'll see people getting a bit confused about the prices of weapon skins, a bit confused about the new mini battle pass, and then you've got people discussing Malga, is he strong, is he weak? That's kind of the prevailing discussion. It isn't, oh, let's just suddenly say Overwatch 2 is the best ongoing game of the year or the live service game of the year. It's interesting stuff, isn't it? But anyway, you can see a bunch of these comments, just like we might have gotten Overwatch to the point where it's more clickbaity to make positive news about Overwatch, which I think is pretty cool. So we're back. We're always back. Never forget, we're always back. You might be confusing them with Kotaku. I mean, that's a fair point. Okay, so this looks more of a thought out comment. Let's check this out. So it says, Team 4 were dealt the absolute worst hand imaginable and have been playing it the best they can. That is true, right? And you've got to look, most of the people from the original Team 4 have left Blizzard. Now, there's a literal multitude of reasons for that. They've just had enough of working on the game. They've spent enough time working on the game. They feel they've done all they can on the game, so they move on. They get better opportunities. Maybe they even go and found their own companies. You know, then you factor in all the issues Blizzard have had internally. You don't want to be associated with that, so you move on, There's loads of different reasons. And we're sort of at the other side of that now. The acquisition of Microsoft of this company, of Activision Blizzard, is sort of the start of like, right, this is where things are almost refreshed. We start anew, and we do have a new Overwatch team. You look at Aaron Keller when he was at BlizzCon, made a very strong point of like, look, guys, there are people who are working on this game who did not work on Overwatch, and that's a big thing, right? So it's a statement of moving forward to the future. Obviously, Aaron, people like Dion as well, and I'm missing a load of people out, but they were there from like the inception of Titan, and they're still with Overwatch. So the leadership, you could say, is still Overwatch 1 kind of centric in some ways. Anyway, yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a fair thing to say. Considering the absolute firestorm of controversy that's been surrounding this game since Jeff left, the fact that the game even still exists is almost a minor miracle in and of itself. The fact that by all accounts it's largely been a successful relaunch is even crazier. So, I have always said with Overwatch, all you had to do was give it content. And that's what's happening really with Overwatch 2. It's just Overwatch, but we're getting content, and it's 5v5. And it's free to play. That's literally the only change, right? So it's not much of a change, but it's just a change of give the people more of what they want. So yeah, you know, I think, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you were always going to win the moment you added content to Overwatch, because it was such a strong game even without content. You know, you've got to remember, guys, there were years where there was literally nothing. It was recycled event after recycled event, couple of new heroes. That was it. There was nothing being added to this game. You'd look across at Fortnite, it's reinventing how to run live service games. You look across at Apex Legends, you know, again, look at Valorant. You know, all these games were like killing it, and Overwatch was just stagnating because there was one issue with Overwatch. It was never viewed as a live service game. That wasn't the view. Overwatch 2 is. Now, live service means faster content. Now, we can debate that forever and a day, because faster doesn't necessarily mean better. And also, sometimes smaller teams make better content. You don't need this massive mega like production house of thousands of developers to pump out content, and that makes a better game. At some point there's going to be diminishing returns there, And we could even argue the way the games are going these days, if you look at even the OG season of Fortnite, going back to basics and just being simple actually does attract players instead of layers and layers and layers of pointless complexity. The thing I'll always point towards with Overwatch is souvenirs in the battle pass. They're absolutely shit. They're just there to fill the battle pass up. It's like, we need a reward. Let's just use some prop assets we've got. It's bad. You know what I mean? It's not great. And that's because they've got these, I guess, internal key performance indicators of we need this many items in the battle pass. And if we don't make that, then there's a problem and then we're not going to get returns we need. And I don't know, just forever and a day. Anyway, this comment then goes on to say, you could write a book on all the things that Blizzard has done wrong with Overwatch 2, but I will strongly maintain that it's a far superior live service game to Overwatch 1. Well, I mean, like I just said there, Overwatch 1 wasn't a live service game. It was just a game that you bought that had content, which was very generous, and then we were waiting for an expansion, which was all the PvE stuff, but then that never happened, and then they turned it into a free-to-play game. That's what happened, and then it became a live service game. Not a better game, mind you, but the actual content cadence and the way the game is updated with its seasonal approach trumps the absolute shit out of Overwatch 1's stale as fuck events, complete lack of communication, and inconsistent and sparse balance philosophy. The thing is, though, you can actually say that we've still got a bit of a strange balance philosophy right now, but, you know, there is truth there, and I agree with what's said there, you know. It's easy to look back at Overwatch 1 with, like, very, very strongly rose-tinted glasses, but also when you look at Overwatch 2, essentially we're still playing Overwatch 1. You know, it's still the characters that we enjoy. It's still essentially the gameplay that we enjoy. And this is one of the reasons we do keep coming back. You know, I've seen people leave comments on my videos and such where they'll say, like, you know, why do you keep making content on Overwatch if you don't like it? Well, that's not true. I love Overwatch, but some things I have issues with. And I'm not going to be silent and sit there and just go, oh, yeah, it's fine. You know, it's all well and good. You know, I'm not going to sit there and berate Blizzard and go, oh, can I have a creator code, Blizzard, to stick in and flog all your skins and all that? I don't care about any of that. I want a good game. I want a game that is fun and fair to play and that makes you want to buy the cosmetics because you're playing the game. Not a game that feels like you're getting frustrated, which is how I feel with Overwatch at the moment when it comes to monetization. But the thing is, when I look at their the game, that's what keeps me coming back. I play the game relentlessly. I love the game. You know, it's so unique, and that's why we all play it. But it is just Overwatch. It's Overwatch, right? That's what we're playing Overwatch. I'd love to sit down and say to, like, Aaron, how do you feel about calling this game Overwatch 2? And I want to know what they say, but you know, they probably wouldn't answer that because it's quite a loaded question. Launch was objectively terrible, but the insane amount of work they've put in since then is crazy. A big example is they reworked their already reworked Sombra just because we begged for it. Okay, hang on. Yeah, so this is a good point because actually, when you look at what they've been doing with the game, yeah, we're getting more heroes than we ever got before. We're getting faster updates. We're getting faster reworks. We are getting faster response, yeah? They're very open with what they're working on. They've shown us the next two heroes. Well, they've shown us Venture, very early footage of Venture, and they look really well. They look really good, I should say, especially the underground movement. And then we also know that there's Space Ranger coming from Mars, which is a support. So it's like, wow, we've never had that level of communication before. Things like that are good. So, yeah, like, in that respect, I think it's very hard to say they're doing a bad job, but, like, it always comes back to the monetization issue in my mind and the way they are packaging and delivering stuff to players. You know, at the moment we've got Mauga, and Mauga I don't think he has a legendary skin or anything. You can actually or even just standard skins that you can earn through just playing. Like, they're either in the battle pass or I guess presumably in the store at some point, and that's like, doesn't feel great. They don't get enough credits for their reworks. There's been much second guessing and trash talk around Hob and Sombra. I think the Hog Sombra rework's actually pretty good, to be fair. But they have said it's too powerful, so they might knock down the power level if Mauga can't rein him in. Although I think very early stuff with Mauga is it seems like Junker Queen is quite strong against Mauga, so try a bit of Junker Queen, and Sigma's still pretty good as well. So yeah, these comments are all talking about that. Loot boxes. We never want loot boxes back. No. This is obviously a person replying to the comments saying, out of curiosity, why do you think Overwatch 1 was a better game than Overwatch 2? This is something that's always going to be discussed forever and a day. You know, you can say stuff like this, right? So I'm going to take you on a time warp. So back with 2019, the Overwatch World Cup, the UK team were amazing at goats. This is back when Brig could shield slam through barriers and stun the enemy Reinhardt. So our Brig and our Reinhardt were no, not 2019, it was 2018. This was, sorry, were incredible at slamming the enemy front line. And we got to the semi-finals of the World Cup doing this. And we didn't really have any right to. Other teams have much better players than us, but we were a much better team at executing that type of strategy. Now, that is a very nuanced meta. Everyone slams goats and says it's absolutely garbage and it was terrible. Actually, goats was incredibly difficult to pull off. There was a ton of organization, communication, synchronization, everything required for that. Your team had to be a really strong team to pull it off. But it didn't look very good from a perspective. What am I trying to say? The perspective, from a viewer's perspective, that's it. So it was what's going on. It doesn't look very flashy. There's a lot of tank characters, blah, blah, blah. You can look at that, though, if you were playing at that level of the game and you were involved with that level of the game, of like, wow, Overwatch 1 was so much better than Overwatch 2, because that doesn't exist in Overwatch 2. But as a person who just plays ladder, I think you would be hard-pressed to say that Overwatch 2 is worse than Overwatch 1. Yes, I know tanking isn't particularly great in Overwatch 2. Support feels much better because you're super strong. DPS, but we can have this debate forever and ever and ever. But I still think at the core of this, what remains is a very unique game, a very unique offering. And this is why we still play the game. So we can have this debate back and forth. Is 5v5 better than 6v6? 6v6 was more tactical, maybe. 5v5, it's more deathmatchy. And that's what they were trying to do with the game. All right, let's jump down and let's have a look at this. I wouldn't disagree. All things considered, Overwatch is still fun to play. Yeah, fine. Aaron and the team have been busting their asses off ever since they took over, and it shows. For the first time in a while, the future of Overwatch franchise doesn't look like a septic tank. Okay, I totally agree. Since launch, we've had multiple content drops, lots of goofy non-competitive modes, tons of communication among the community and the devs. And if I was working on a live service game, I'd point to Overwatch 2 for being the gold standard at the moment. I think the only things we can critique them on is the PvE shenanigans and some pricing stuff, but I feel the pricing is a larger game and community conversation. Fair enough, but the thing is, look at the recent Battle Pass. You cannot tell me that the Season 8 Battle Pass is you're not going like, whoa, my God, I need to get this. I'm going to tell all my mates, we've all got to buy this. You're just not doing that. You're just looking at it going, whatever, and you're just carrying on with the game. It's not very Blizzard. That's the thing I'm getting at. Let's take a look at a couple more of these. So yeah, we're going through this pretty quick here, but these are just all replies. We would be here for hours if we read them all. Pokemon Go's on the list. I don't know if we can be proud of this. Isn't Pokemon Go, is it older than Overwatch? No, I want to say that came out in 2016, maybe, or 2017. I'm not sure. The game has certainly gotten better since the first season. Okay, actually, this is a good point to sort of, I guess, wrap up on. The game has certainly got better since the first season. The game is such a complicated thing that we've got now. We've got the game that we play. We've got the monetization, the progression, the extra stuff. Like, look at the hero mastery stuff they're adding. And they're adding hero gauntlet soon as well, which is like a co-op tower defense hero mastery mode. We've got new maps that have been added, new game modes. There's a lot, right, that's been added to Overwatch. And if we look at Season 1, yeah, the game's much better. Undeniably, it's better. You can feel them settling into a bit of a stride, but we've still got issues, right? The Battle Pass is still functionally the same. Mythic skins started off as something which were going to be this pinnacle that you were looking to achieve, and it's the reason for buying the Battle Pass and grinding away, but they've slowly waned, and they've slowly dropped in their customization. There's no premium currency in the Battle Pass. As a player, this is going to sound really mental to say. I don't even play Valorant, but I almost want to buy the Valorant skins more than I want to buy the Overwatch skins. I can't even explain to you why that is. I think it's a culmination of just Valorant seems like, yeah, they're expensive, the weapon skins are, but you can use them with any agent. Also, that it is more of that, it's more of that selfish fashion show thing, whereas in Overwatch, it doesn't quite feel like that for most things. But here's the other thing, right? We can't just sit here and rag on what Overwatch has done this year. When we look at the monetization, I think we do honestly need to discuss the K-pop collab, the Le Sserafim collab. For whatever you say about that, the quality of the in-game items they delivered is unparalleled. Like they are insanely detailed, those skins. They are by far the highest detailed skins in the game. Now, obviously, you need to like that style, and you may prefer, I don't know, like the more like technological, I don't know, I'm just trying to make it like the techno skins for Sombra instead of a K-pop skin, right? But maybe you do prefer the K-pop skin. I would imagine they've made a ton of money off that event, and we know they're going to do more of these going forward. Of course, we had the One Punch Man before that, and in fact, we could compare them. Look at One Punch Man, look at the Seraphim. Insanely better. Yeah, it was expensive. It was crazy expensive. I don't have the skins. I didn't want to buy the skins. It's too expensive. Blizzard didn't give me the skins. Probably because of my thoughts on them. That's fair enough. Because of the monetization of the game. But like, it's there are, I think, well, I just want to wrap this video up now because I could just ramble forever. But basically, I think there are glimmers that Overwatch can fix a lot of these issues. And the big thing they've got is Overwatch is still a really strong game. It's still a really good game. It can still attract a ton of players. That it's like unparalleled in a lot of ways, the way it plays as an FPS game. Like, you cannot beat it, right? Players love that. And you get them in through the door and find out a way of monetizing them that makes them feel happy, and we keep going forward. And that's what I hope. I myself am going to put a lot of onus on what they say in January, you know, and then even moving forward. Like, I want to see, how are you going to change the Battle Pass? How are you going to innovate? How are you going to make it Blizzard? Don't just copy other people. Come up with something that is fresh and unique. How are you going to change monetization? How are you going to change the store? What's happening with competitive? That's being reworked, because at the moment I feel comp doesn't really feel competitive. I always play comp over quick play, but I'm not really playing it to go up in rank. I don't even care about my rank. It's that age-old thing of rank doesn't matter. It doesn't. I just like having a good game, but it would be nice to get rank, you know, and go up and have a reason to play. So maybe that gets better in time. But I think the fact is this. This is a new Overwatch team. This is a new Overwatch game. This is a more modern take on what Overwatch was. And this is Overwatch 2. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I just thought this would be a really interesting, like, talking point, because Overwatch winning an award, I mean, I say this with air quotes, you know, it's Dexerto, who cares? But winning an award, it's making an impact, and it's undoubtedly making a lot of revenue off things like the Seraphim collab, and probably off a lot of the skins in the game in general. That's the way modern gaming is, you know. All right, guys. It's a success. That's the good news. But we've got to keep it real, and that's what I'm trying to do, right? And I'm not trying to throw shade on other creators or whatever. Everyone, do whatever you want. But, like, for me, I'm always going to try my best to just let you know when I don't agree with certain things, especially when it comes to monetization, because I feel we don't want things to get wildly expensive, and we don't want things to just be not worth our time, especially for the game that we all love and we want to see thrive. So, yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to leave the video at that. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little bit ranty, but it generally is when I make these videos. But onwards and upwards for Overwatch 2. I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you soon.